Hearing the bell, we slowly come out of meditation. Join your palms. Place the hands on your knees and then rotate. Still present, experiencing the body, movements and sensations. And then, in our tradition, we encourage people after sitting to do some self-massage. So you can do it with me. We make the palm warm by rubbing them together. And then we wake up the eyes. Place it over your eyes and allow the warmth to come in. Rub the hands again. Do that one more time. Again, now the whole face. And then with our fingers, we massage the scalp. Feeling, experiencing, the squeezing movements down the back of the neck. Rub. You can rub your earlobes. And then down one side of the shoulders, muscles, squeeze. And joint rub. Down the arm, muscle squeeze, joint rub. And then down the other shoulder, the same. And the chest, both directions, massage. And the abdomen, only one direction, the abdomen. From the top, you go down to your left, and then down, come up to your right. One direction. This has to do with the placement of the internal organs. And then the side of the rib. And then the back. And the two sides of the spine, you use your knuckles to rotate and massage down the spine. When you get to the lower back where the kidneys are, you rub, create heat. Hips massage, you can straighten out your legs if you wish, and then massage your thighs, rub your knees, and then rub your calf. So usually at this time, in our tradition, we will get up and do some walking meditation, or we do yoga stretches together. But now we'll just continue on to whatever comes next.
Photo comes next. Thank you so much, Guo Gu, for that beautiful, talk in a way, but really, who was here for last week's talk, or who wasn't here for last week's talk, I should say. Okay, great. So in that one, it was a little bit more of a history of silent illumination and Chan and how it gave rise to our Zen practice and how it's tied together with our Zen practice. Definitely a must-see. But now we got the same talk except in an embodied way. So that was a beautiful way of experiencing what we did, what he taught us last week. And I think now Guo Gu, who is the, I should say a little bit for you who haven't met him yet. Dr. Jimmy Yu, or Guo Gu, is the founder of the Tallahassee Chan Center and the founder of the socially engaged interdenominational Buddhist organization Dharma Relief. He's a professor of Buddhism and East Asian religions at Florida State University, and he studied under the late Master Sheng Yen for over 30 years, 9 of which as his attendant monk and most senior and closest disciple. And last week, we got to hear a little bit about his time with Sheng Yen and the differences between how his teacher taught and how he teaches. One of the main aspects being how embodied it is. And as you can see and feel, I think this is a very embodied way. So thank you so much, Guo Gu, for that meditation. And for the rest of our 25 or so minutes, what would you like to do? Would you like to speak to anything or go right into Q&A?
Let me recap a little bit, and then we open
Thank you
up
so much.
Q&A. So, learning to be in the body is very important. Most people are disembodied, and they're in their head. So I usually emphasize the embodied experiencing, learning to be in one's skin, in the body, relaxing, feeling grounded. So after that, what we did was go directly into just sitting. Japanese tradition, shikantaza. Chinese is 直观打坐. But people can also go to the breath, right? Experiencing the breath, either nostrils or down the abdomen, whatever feels natural. But the principle is to embody the breathing. Right? So what we're actually doing is, out of all the sense organs, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, we're amplifying the sense faculty of the body. Right? When we do this, the functioning of the other sense faculties will naturally recede in the background. That's important. It's kind of a secret to principle. So we work with how we're neurologically wired. Right? When we amplify one sense faculty, the other sense faculty will just naturally recede, especially the discursive thinking mind. Right? So be in your skin, in your body, grounded. Whether you use following the breath, or you just go directly to sitting. Now, how do you know you're sitting? Like right now, how do you know you're sitting? The posture. You feel the presence of the body, the physicality of embodied experiencing of the posturing, sitting. Right? So bare minimum. So this provides an anchor to be in the body, wakefully, yet being present to what's actually happening in the moment. Right? Not some abstract method of practice, but what is actually happening in the moment. And what's happening is the body is sitting, the mind is sitting. How is the mind sitting? The body and mind are with what's actually happening. And the bare minimum is the posturing. You're relaxed, completely grounded, sense of bodily weight sunk to the earth. Heart content, great interest. Sit. So usually people do this for some time until they get a good handle. We kind of sped up this process. What I mean by this is, if you continue this way, then different parts of the body will naturally disappear. Why? Because you're completely relaxed. When your body is truly relaxed and grounded, maybe your hands will disappear, your head will disappear, or different parts of the body. Certainly, definitely, the upper body is light as a feather. So as the body begins to fade away, what becomes prominent in that moment from there on is actually the groundedness. The upper body could be light as a feather, as if there, as if not there. But the groundedness, the rootedness to earth, that's still there. So that becomes just sitting. How do you know you're sitting? The presence of the body. Present body, grounded. So again, you're staying with the reality of this moment. You're not in some fantasy land. You're not listening to sounds. You're not contemplating mind. You're sitting. Right? So at this time, embodied experiencing the physicality of presence, grounded, sitting. But that becomes in the foreground. And if a person continues like this, then that groundedness will fall away. Now, several things may happen with the kind of spaciousness, openness. Right? The body will open up. Right? Technically, that's an altered state of mind. So it's not really the point. But the reality of what is actually happening is that momentum of embodied concentration. Right? The body may fall away, but the embodiment, the concentration will continue. And that takes the form of moment to moment to moment experiencing, palpable. So in the beginning, you may rely on the crutch of the posturing or the crutch of the groundedness. These things will come and go. But the experiencing, that remains. So those of you who have some experience of this will know. Right? How many of you, with the show of hands, were able to stay with the embodied experiencing of the posturing? Please raise your hand. Okay. What about the embodied experiencing of the sense of groundedness? Raise your hand. Right. Okay. What about just the experiencing itself? Palpable. Raise your hand. At this point, this is where I begin to introduce the practice of wonderment. Hongzhi Zhengjue, Chan Master Hongzhi Zhengjue, the founder of the Silent Illumination Chan, he calls this embodied experiencing or investigation. So the mind is not in a stupor, nor is it in some kind of altered state of consciousness. It just regains its natural state, not relying on objects of mind, but just the experiencing itself. Right? And Hongzhi spoke about this as one must investigate to the bottom of this. Now, he used metaphorical language, like the empty field. Right? What is this empty field? Right? Hollow, yet potent, this experiencing. What is it? So you're not investigating this like Huatou practice, meditating on the critical phrase or koans, but the same principle is same. So the mind is vibrant, wakeful, alive, yet not a single thing arises. In fact, it's investigating directly at that juncture before anything arises. Right? So there's no wandering thought. Yet the mind is not dead. It's alive. It's just that juncture of embodied experiencing or just experiencing. And it's a non-verbal kind of, this investigation, it's a non-verbal kind of questioning. It's like, what is it? What is it? What is this? Moment to moment to moment, awake. So the analogy I have is, how many of you have cats? Raise your hand. Or you've seen cats, right? You've seen cats, like before they pounce on something, right? Before they pounce, they're like, that anticipation, wakefulness. It's like that juncture. What is it? So you're sitting. Practicing this way definitely will prevent the person from entering what critics call the ghost cave on the dark side of the mountain, right? The sun don't shine, right? So you're not in a kind of meditative absorption, nor are you in a haze, or just kind of in some kind of reverie, You're clear, awake, yet not a single thing. So, in this state, discursive thinking, selfing, silent, right? Yet wakeful, illumination. So it's the simultaneity of silent illumination. Potent and wakeful, yet quiescent. Selfless, hollow, empty, yet potent. So is that the awakened state? No. The self is still there. This experiencing is the sense of self. So you have to continue until the self, this experiencing, or the awareness of this experiencing, rather, completely unifies with just the freshness of this moment. It's not experiencing of this moment. Just freshness. And that is the place where the sense of self-referentiality is at the weakest point. Then some catalyst, a sound, someone says something, right? In the Japanese tradition, Dogen is kind of sitting, and then his teacher grabs his slipper, smacks the person right next to him because the guy was sleeping, right? That serves as a catalyst. Suddenly, at that weakest point where the selfing suddenly drops away, awakening. So we have to bring the mind from scattered to concentrated, unified to this wakeful experiencing. That's the weakest link. And then it's possible. For the self to drop away. So just recapping. All the while, we don't seek for awakening, we don't grasp anything, we don't try to kind of get rid of anything. And that's the paradox. very diligent in the practice, yet not seeking for a single thing. Right? Engaging in the practice, translating into daily life. Right? When we are with someone, when we're engaging in some activity, completely present in the body, availing ourselves to what is happening. Right? So when we're with someone, completely present. Selfing, not there, but wakeful. And when we're talking, when we're doing work, everything's like that. Okay. Thank you for your patience, for so much blabbering. If you have questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Guo Gu. So we will open it up to the audience here for the next few minutes. And if anybody's online on YouTube, if you'd like to put a question in the chat, we can also relate that.
Roshi, Halifax, thank you. Thank you for being present.
So grateful for your very clear instructions and feeling very we'll just take a minute to get our technology.
So I think, Guo Gu, on your side, there's some feedback when she's speaking, then it's coming back through on our end. I'm not sure what.
So I just want to say I'm so grateful for your very clear instructions, and also knowing how congruent this approach is to what we do here. It really captures, feedback again. It captures, or not so much captures, but it expresses the absolute directness of what it is to just sit upright, body and mind dropping away. But I want to just mention one other thing, and that is the embodied paradigm of the grounded, or the gravity that is experienced in the lower part of the body, and also the openness and lightness in the upper part of the body. Our friend Isho Fujita uses that particular approach, which I think is very important for us. I think you know him. Very important to understand the relationship between the experience of gravity and the experience of groundlessness within the same moment. I'm very, very grateful for your presence here, and also knowing that we will meet you again a little later in the fall in our Awareness in Action series, but we'll touch it about that again. And finally, apropos of Awareness in Action, the fact that you bring this very clear contemplative practice in relation to action in the world. So often, contemplative practice is bypassing the aspect of what it means to let go of the self and to really have a life about service to the wider world. So thank you truly for your presence and your wonderful teaching.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your kind words. You can entertain questions if people would like to share, or something not clear. All of you are in a state of silent illumination.
Gu and
Yeah.
Ying here. Want to ask a question here.
Yeah.
You were saying I'm a new resident here, so I might still be my early stage in this form of practice. So we had a lot of wind and thunderstorming here. And when you practice with a lot of noise or a lot of wonderful nature sound in the background, I actually felt a sense of, I wouldn't say out of body, but the body sensation and the sound sort of blending into one together. So when that happens, what do you do? Do you bring back to the body, ignore the sound? What do you do?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. So it's very common, like right now here is very quiet, but if there's sound, like maybe a thunderstorm, the sound will start to take on a physicality in the sitting. In other words, it's as if the sound is as if going through. Not necessarily. Now, usually the habit tendency of people is when they start to use the ears, their mind goes out. Their mind goes out to hear sound. And I want you to try this. You're still grounded. You're like a sound absorbing board. You're not denying the sound. The ears function naturally, but the sound is here. The sound is here. So the sound and the embodiment become one. Right? What does that mean? At the working end of practice, experientially, first, the sound, vibration, or the experiencing start to take on a physicality to it, groundedness to it. Right? Why? Because you're grounded. Right? Don't let the habit of going to the ear and then go out there, but allow the sound to be here. Right? But if you continue to sit, inside, outside become one. Sound embodiment become one. Yeah? Yeah. And then you have to put down the one. But in the meantime, it's just together, not separate, not separate. Right? But be aware not to go out. Right? That intentionality, directionality of the mind. Same thing with sight. Sight and sound, these two sense faculties, kind of brings up a lot of discrimination, labeling. There are no words. There are no directionality. There's no comparison, no words and language, but embodying the sound. Like that.
Thank you so much. That makes sense because there are times when the gong strike, I can feel the sound comes in.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time getting up. I didn't want to get up because the whole thing felt so grounded. I don't want to get up. So I know what you're talking about. Now I knew what I got myself in trouble for. It's exactly what you said was going out. I was thinking of that phrase, sorry, the words coming, 打成一片, thinking you meditate with the environment was a going out, sort of like a bigger together, but you're saying is taking everything here and bring it grounded? Is that what the 打成一片 means?
No, okay. She's saying 打成一片. In translation, this means it could be translated as becoming a whole sheet of continuity. Usually it's in the context of unification, oneness. So seamless, gapless. Now this could be body and mind 打成一片, or body and mind becoming seamless, oneness, into a whole sheet of moment to moment to moment experiencing. Or it could be inside, outside, becoming a whole sheet of continuity. So the analogy is like sheet, like seamless. Really, at the working and the practice, you don't have to worry about that. You know, all you need to do is just relax and ground, and just allow the years to do what they do. Like there's no wall, there's no boundaries. It's like, oh, I'm hearing this sound as opposed to that sound. All you need to do is relax and ground. The eyes see, ears hear, and the body experiences. So, moment to moment. So these sensory experiences, because the discriminating mind diminishes, the sensory experiences will start to blend into one continuity, inseparable. Soon as we stir up an idea, a notion, a label, words and language, then it's separate. You're out of the body. Right? So you want to keep it clean, clean. Right? Clean, crisp. Clean of what? Cleanse of what? Cleanse of self in and othering, this and that, inside, outside, body and me. Clean, clean it off. So the ears just do what it does, eyes just do what they do, and the body is just experiencing. And then everything will be taken care of by itself. Right? So that expression of the whole sheet becoming one could be body, mind, one. Or it could be inside, outside, one. Or it could be previous instant and the subsequent instant becoming one. Right? It's the most vulnerable, least self-referential state, the most natural flow, right? Where there's no obstruction with regard to sensory functions. Everything just function as they should. Right? Spick and span, right? Like cleaning the window, right? It's like a clear glass. Is the self there? Self is there. The window is still there. Right? But it's the least selfing. Right? So just continue like that. And when you're with people, you're also the same way. Like the mind, the discursive mind, it's just a sense function. You don't lose memory. It's not like you don't understand English anymore. Someone's talking. You're very clear. So the eyes see, ears hear, the mind still functions, engage, but selfing absent. And you're embodied. So first you do something simple like sitting, and then you begin to translate that to daily activities, interaction with people. Right? Just allow, not let yourself get in the way. Right? So you just allow all the sensory functions to function completely naturally. You know, no boundaries, no borders. So when you're with someone, you and the someone 打成一片, right? One. So the person, you're so intimate. So practice is a kind of intimacy. You're so intimate that you understand the words, but you're actually in the heart of the person. So when the person is talking with you, your heart is just right there, right there. So when you reply, you respond, you're responding to the heart. You're not responding to the superficial words. So that's also 打成一片. Yeah.
Thank you.
5 minutes over.